Now from the station on your side, you're watching Wavy News 10.
Right now at 6, still stalled. Efforts to get a sunken car out of the ocean after a weekend crash at the Virginia Beach fishing pier remains on hold.
It takes a lot to get a car out of the water. For now, all crews can do is wait for favorable seas. Good evening and thank you for joining us on a busy night of news. We'll begin with the ongoing efforts to recover the car involved in the pier crash over the weekend.
And once again, nature is not cooperating with crews. That's been the case all week. They've been waiting since Saturday to get this car, which is upside down, out of the water. Crews sent cameras down to look at it, but the murky waters are clouding visibility. Still, it's a start of a long process of understanding of why this crash happened in the first place. 10 on your side's Lauren Moss continues our coverage on the ocean front. Lauren?
Yes, Tom, there are still so many questions about what happened, but one device Virginia Beach Police Department requested gave police a unique look underwater without sending divers into these rough waters. It's a call to dispatch that deploys Chesapeake Fire Department's Station 4 ROV, or remotely operated vehicle. This team requested to help Virginia Beach Police recover a car that drove off the oceanfront pier. This is the device.
It's basically it's a drone that goes underwater. It has a camera for looking at things.
Lieutenant William Helms from Chesapeake Fire Department says this device fills the gaps so divers and the boat above know what's going on below the water's surface.
We will take the robot out, put it under, go find what we're looking for, provide that information to the dive team, and they determine whether or not it's of interest and they want to go dive on it. And so it makes it safer for them.
These are the images this underwater drone captured of the car sitting on its roof. Very hard to see anything. Helms explains why.
The water moving the object that you're looking at. And so if the visibility is this far away and that object is moving up and down, and I can get the camera that close, you'll get passing images of it, or the thing will bounce into the robot. And so it's not as simple as, well, there it is, and I can see the entire thing.
These conditions meant the device couldn't get a clear picture or any identifying tags. It also shows a glimpse of why conditions underwater aren't suitable for divers and equipment operators. And Virginia Beach Police Department says Crofton Industries called off the operation today, but the hope is to attempt to get the car out tomorrow. At the oceanfront, I'm Lauren Moss, 10 on your side.
And maybe then we'll finally get some answers. Thank you, Lauren, reporting live from Virginia Beach. As we continue to follow this story, we'll post updates as we get them for you on wavy.com.
Developing tonight in Isle of Wight County, authorities are looking into a crash that killed a woman and her dog early this morning. It happened just after 7 a.m. on Ben's Church Boulevard near Riddick Road. 10 on your side has video from the scene. Investigators say 43-year-old Amber Gibson was walking her dog when she stepped into the road and was hit. There are no sidewalks on the rural road. So far, police have not filed any charges, but the investigation continues.
And we're learning new information on a deadly weekend fire in Newport News. Officials have identified the man killed early Sunday morning. The fire marshal says the victim is 64-year-old Kenneth Vines. 2 others escaped from that burning home on Hampton Avenue. The house was structurally unstable after the fire, which meant crews had to demolish it. Officials still do not have a cause of this fire. A major announcement this morning changes the course for cruises to part of the peninsula.
After some backlash, Princess Cruises says forget it to York County. The plan had been for several cruises to pay visits to the York River starting in June. For months, residents have pushed back on the plan, but not all love is lost between the cruise line and Hampton Roads. 10 on your side's Ashley Knight is following up tonight. Ashley?
Well, Tom and Lana, those Princess Cruises will now be going to Norfolk, and some say that may be for the best. Those with the county who worked hard to make it happen, along with some of the businesses here, might not like the decision by Princess Cruises to not come to Yorktown. But residents I spoke with are relieved. They say they already have smaller cruises with about 100 guests on board docking here.
The nice thing about that is that the ships are made in America. They fly under an American flag, they pay U.S. taxes, and they adhere to U.S. labor laws. Whereas the large ocean-going vessels deliberately are made either in France or somewhere else. They are registered overseas, specifically to avoid paying their fair share of U.S. taxes.
The two ships that would have come here, the Island Princess and the Emerald Princess, each carries between 3,000 and 4,000 people on board. He can't bear to think how that foot traffic would impact this little town.
The Revolutionary War was won here. It's a small riverfront community. It has a certain ambiance and character that people enjoy and come to appreciate. These large tour ships that are going to bring people in are going to totally disrupt that feeling.
The York County Board of Supervisors received this statement from Princess Cruises: to ensure our guests experience legendary Virginian hospitality as they explore the region's significant historical contributions to American history, Princess is confirming Norfolk on the published itinerary for Island Princess and its 3 new calls to the Commonwealth this summer. Smaller scale cruise ships will still dock in Yorktown, and they will still host tall ships for locals and tourists.
Big cruise ships would totally disrupt the feeling of this town.
Now, I spoke with Stephen Roan just a bit ago. He's the representative for District 4 on the Board of Supervisors here in Yorktown. He says he hopes the partnership between Norfolk and Princess Cruises is a successful one. Meanwhile, they'll still welcome guests here who want to visit Yorktown and experience their part of American history. Live in Yorktown, Ashley Knight, 10 on your side.
Thank you, Ashley. Now a story you'll see only on 10. Parents are fearing for their kids' safety after a nasty crash happened where a school bus stop is set up. This was all caught on surveillance video in Chesapeake. You can see that car barreling through the bushes and mangling the fence, landing in a twisted mess. It drove right through where kids normally stand and wait for the bus. Many parents here reached out to the school district showing them this video and asking them to move the bus stop somewhere else. But they tell 10 on your side they have yet to get a response.
If this doesn't serve as a catalyst to get them to do something, what's it going to take? Is someone going to have to die here?
So we reached out to the school district. They told us our questions are being sent to the director for that area.
And an update to a story 10 on your side got the call on yesterday. Crews have completed work on cleaning up racist graffiti near a school in Chesapeake. 10 on your side was there as Public Works crews scraped the top layer of the asphalt. Yesterday, only on 10, Andy Fox showed you how somebody defaced the road near the Primrose School with Nazi symbols and racial slurs. Neighbors called the words of hate extremely disturbing. Police are looking for suspects in this case.
A major crossing over the James River is about to be shut down again.
Ahead on Wavy News 10 at 6, what you need to know about the JRB closing and what it means for some local schools tomorrow.
Plus, honoring Black history, our month of special stories begins with a long history of song in a local community and the man whose voice is still heard in the hearts of others.
Clouds are moving in for tonight. We're going to see our temperatures drop into the low 40s tonight. Mostly clear skies now, but those clouds really do move in, though. You can see there. We'll take a look at that forecast for tomorrow and also what's coming up for the weekend in just a bit.
And in sports, the change of command on the Washington football team's coaching staff appears to be complete.
Craig has that and more as we continue on this beautiful Thursday night.
From the station on your side, you're watching Wavy News 10 at 6.
Well, some local journalists hit the picket line, all part of a larger effort to protest deep financial cuts. 10 on your side at the Old Virginian Pilot Building, where staffers protested what they say are slow contract negotiations. That building has been since renovated into apartments. The Pilot and a number of other newspapers nationally are now being owned by Alden Global Capital. Workers say they are not being paid enough and they're worried about the loss of their 401k benefits. A major reminder tonight that James River Bridge is getting ready to shut down for another weekend.
The closure comes overnight and will last for several days. It's all part of VDOT's efforts to rehab the wire ropes on the crossing between Newport News and Isle of Wight County. The closure starts at 1 a.m. tomorrow and will run through Tuesday morning at 5 a.m. The Monitor Merrimack is one of your alternates. Isle of Wight schools are also adjusting due to the closure. Both tomorrow and Monday will be student holidays. Staff will have virtual work days. The regular school schedule is expected to return on Tuesday.
Next at 6, decades of choral excellence. After the break, the man behind the music and how he's still celebrated to this day.
And some cooler temps are on the way for the weekend. Any rain in there too. A gorgeous sunset tonight as well. Jeff's forecast and more are all after we step aside for a quick break.
From the station on your side, you're watching Wavy News 10 at 6.
Back now with the first of our special reports honoring Black history, and we think you'll really like this one to kick things off.
A prime example of someone trying to make a difference through music, and his legacy lives on more than a half century later. Here's 10 on your side's Kiana Patterson.
The I. Sherman Green Chorale is still going strong after 51 years in Norfolk. The standard is musical excellence as it honors the past, present, and future.
A Black History celebration brought together former Washingtonians 5 decades ago. It's this generation of students that bravely worked to integrate Norfolk Public Schools starting in 1959.
The first day, they would stand out there, go home ends and all that. So, it was a go home. I was scared to death.
Despite mass resistance from the governor and white community at the time, some students found a way to make their voice heard.
After they heard me sing, I became very popular at school.
By joining a special choir led by a beloved musician.
Mr. Green assembled a choir initially comprised of his former students at Booker T. And we sang, and oh, how we sang. That was the birth of the I. Sherman Green Chorale.
The man behind the baton, a longtime music teacher at Booker T. Washington for 40 years.
Let's go back to the beginning. 1, 2, ready?
Ann McGinnis joined the chorale in 1972. Now, 51 years later, she is still singing. And holding on to a newspaper article of who she calls a father figure.
And Mr. Green was an awesome musician and individual. He was like a mentor to me, as you can see on that picture.
These photos capture just a glimpse of the musical excellence, but it's the headlines in the New Journal and Guide that paint a picture of what was happening in the Black community at the time.
He had to deal with the racist teachers and racist school board and all that. Yeah, it was tough, but he never let it get to him, and because he produced great music.
Now, Dr. Lydia Tolliver is directing the chorale.
Those stories have to continue to live on. Like, we can't just let them have those experiences and not share that with others.
Long after Green passed in 1984.
What he instilled in them meant so much to them personally that they knew they had to continue that experience. And I think that that's what legacy is really all about.
Thinking back on the anthems, spirituals, and gospels, Covington is now a retired music teacher in Suffolk, where he taught for 25 years.
He taught me everything I knew, and a lot of the songs that he taught me, I use it for my schools when I started teaching.
1, 2, 3.
And he has never missed a performance so far.
And I do this for him. That's why I'm here still, because of Mr. Green. I want to keep his dream alive. And that's what we're doing, as long as we can do it.
All to make sure that it's the music that we can look to for inspiration.
I love the chorale, and as long as I can get out some second soprano, I'll do it.
And on February 17th, the chorale will perform at Grace Episcopal Church to salute Black composers in our area. I'll post that information for you over on wavy.com. Kiana Patterson, 10 on your side.
Now, your Super Doppler 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Edmondson.
What a gorgeous day we had across our area today. Mostly sunny skies. This is the view outside right now in Tower Cam 10. That's what it looked like an hour ago. Let's look at that time lapse of the sunset on this Thursday night. Mostly clear skies across our area today. There goes the sun. Sunset today was at 5:30 p.m. So now we're seeing those sunsets after 5:30 starting tomorrow. Clear skies still now. You can see those clouds off in the distance. Eventually those are going to move in later tonight. Probably 10 or 11 o'clock we'll see more clouds than clear skies across our area. 53 degrees is the high temperature today. Average high is 51, so just a few degrees above that average high. On this day in 2002, it was 81 degrees for that record high temperature. We'll see the sun come up tomorrow morning at about 7:07 in the morning. We'll have some cloud cover with the start of the day tomorrow, but temperatures may not be as cold. Right now we're in the mid-40s in Hampton, 44 degrees in Chesapeake. We could see a couple of inland spots maybe getting into the upper 30s tonight, but mainly in the 40s for our lows tonight across the area. The wind won't be very strong tonight. We'll see that wind pick up a little bit more as we go into the afternoon on Friday tomorrow and also for the weekend. Colder air is about to move in. But this is where the clouds are coming from. You can see there's no real rain with it. It's just some cloud cover that's sweeping in from the west. So we're looking mostly dry. There's a cold front farther to the north. It's in northern Ohio right now. This is going to move through tomorrow. It's going to help to bring us those clouds. Not getting the rain out of it though. There's just not enough moisture in the atmosphere to get rain. We just have enough for the cloud cover. You can see where the front is interacting into Missouri. There's a little bit more rain there, but there's just not that much strength with the storm system. The strongest storm on the map right now is towards the west coast. That'll be an area of rain that tries to get a bit closer early next week. So here's tomorrow. We're going to see some sunshine in the morning with some clouds moving in from the north during the middle of the day. Winds will be out of the north tomorrow around 10 to 15 miles an hour. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies for a couple of hours during the early afternoon tomorrow, and then maybe those clouds will break up a bit towards the evening, right around or maybe just after sunset. We could see a little bit more clearing across our area. Tomorrow night we should clear out. Saturday looking good. These clouds here are forming from the Chesapeake Bay, so they may not be as widespread as advertised here, but we could have a few clouds streaming in from the north from that colder air. Highs will be in the mid-40s on Saturday. Sunday, not as windy. We're still looking dry. The entire weekend looks to be dry. Tomorrow, high temperatures will be in the 50s, so we still have one more day in the 50s, but as we drift to the north on the map, you can see how the highs aren't in the mid-50s anymore. They're in the mid-40s. So colder air moving in from the north tomorrow, and that drops our temperatures a little bit. That storm system for next week brings us a lot of wind and maybe some cloud cover with a few showers possible. We might see wind gusts on Tuesday around 30 to 40 miles an hour from the northeast. So we're watching for a lot of wind perhaps that day, and cold too, with a high of only 44 degrees.
Well, it seems like there's always a local connection, right? And that's the case with Dan Quinn. The Commanders brass appears to be set, and the team can look ahead. Sports Wrap is next. Welcome back. I'm Craig Loper. ESPN's Adam Schefter tweeting out today just after 11 a.m. The Washington Commanders are hiring Dan Quinn as the next head coach. He spent the last 3 seasons as the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Quinn set to become the 8th head coach hired during this coaching cycle in the NFL. The 53-year-old New Jersey native, known for his defensive knowledge and background. Dallas, the last 3 seasons, was never worse than 7th in the NFL in terms of points per game allowed. And Washington saw it all up close and personal. Listen to this. In 6 meetings the last 3 years with Dallas, Washington is 1-5, and the offense averaged just 15 points per game in those 6 contests. Quinn, tasked with taking over a team that went 4-13 in 2023, and numerous questions about the talent on the roster and what it will take to get back to the storied tradition in Washington that fans have been desperately desiring for quite a long time. Just a few quick bullet points on Quinn's coaching resume. 43-42 in the regular season as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons from 2015 to 2020. He was 3-2 in the playoffs, one of those losses to the Patriots in the Super Bowl in which Atlanta led 28-3, sort of infamous there. Quinn was the defensive coordinator in Seattle back in 2013 when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl with the Legion of Boom defense. Now, before all that, going back 30 years ago, the 1994 season, how about this? Quinn, the defensive line coach, actually defensive assistant at William & Mary in Williamsburg. It's where he started his coaching career under former head coach Jimmy Laycock. Also on that staff was current Tribe head coach Mike London. Both of them coached the defensive line. Here's London on what he saw back then from Quinn.
The way he coached, how much he wanted to learn, his enthusiasm, his interest in being a technician and things like that. And so, coaching the D-line and all the little things that go along with that, the intricacies of it, it was interesting to watch him wanted to be really good at it. And so it doesn't surprise me at, this profession as you leave and you go into different places that he's had the career that he's had thus far.
And how about this? 3 future NFL head coaches were in Williamsburg in 1994. Mike Tomlin and Sean McDermott were players on that team. Here's what Quinn is stepping into in Washington. The Commanders have the most cap space in the NFL this offseason, $73.7 million. They also hold the 2nd overall draft pick in April's draft and hold 5 picks in the top 100. In terms of players Quinn could be building around, key players like Jonathan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Daron Payne, Sam Howell, and Brian Robinson Jr. are all under contract for at least the next 2 seasons. So Washington's sort of late to the dance. A lot of people were like, when are they going to hire a coach? They were the last team to do it, 8 openings. They were the last 8th team to do it. But it's done now. I know coming from Dallas, speaking to someone who's a fan in the office back there, he's like, but he's from Dallas. And I'm like, I know, but you just got to keep an open mind. Hopefully he's the right guy for the job.
A lot of potential to build around, too.
Yeah, it got some potential, and they got a lot. Flexibility is the biggest thing they have.
You never know what's going to click.
Never know.
You never know. But we do know about the weather.
Yeah,
Jeff.
well, we hope we do. We're going to see sunshine for the next couple of days. We'll see what happens with the groundhog forecast tomorrow. That's the biggest question. We'll see what happens. Towards the end of the weekend, we start to warm up a little bit back to 50 degrees on Sunday.
Come on, Chuck.
I do love seeing Chesapeake Chuck on our 7-day.
Me too.
He's a cutie. All right, our next newscast is at 6:30. Have a good night.